Listening to it today, you discover that it's the most underrated of all his early albums. Numan and the Tubeway Army were one of the first new wave punk bands to successfully fuse robotic synthesizers with rock and roll. Gary Numan's guitar riffing is more prominent here than on any other of his albums. The band had made a conscious effort to streamline the sound heard on its 1978 self-titled debut. The distorted guitar riffs were played on Moog synthesizers instead, and Numan had perfected his first bass-age persona, and the paranoia that is very evident in the lyrics and vocals on Numan's next release. The Pleasure Principle can be detected on Replicas, another near-perfect album by the band. Highlights are many. There is not a single weak moment on the whole record. It contains his sold US #1 worldwide hit, Cards, and new drummer Cedric Sharpley adds a whole new dimension with his powerful percussion work. The Pleasure Principle is also one of the first Gary Numan albums to feature true ensemble playing, especially heard within the airtight Killer Groove of Metal, one of Numan's all-time best tracks. Starting things off with the atmospheric instrumental element, the quality of the songs gets stronger and stronger as the album progresses. His third consecutive #1 album, Numan could not follow up his massive new wave because in the United States, where he was unjustly slapped with the one-hit wonder tag. Telecon would also turn out to be the last true classic Numan album, as monetary problems in an unfocused attempt to try different musical forms as well as a short-lived retirement would steer him away from his original vision. A transition album of sorts. Dance saw Numan departing from the jerky machine music of his synth-pop prime to embrace a warmer sound that is less robotic and more free-form. The subject matter on highlights like She's Got Claws, Slow Car to China, Cry the Clock Said, and Crash are quintessentially Numan. But the musical frameworks are quite far removed from early hits like A Friend's Electric and Cards, undoubtedly a shock to fans. Dance hasn't aged very well, either. After the spare in lengthy reflections and dislocated experiments of his excellent dance album, Gary Numan made a return to a more focused approach with I Assassin, which turned out to be his last truly great album for many years. Much of what would characterize his later music in the 80s did start to show up here, to be sure, but instead of the formless flailing all too apparent on Warriors, and especially on Berserker, Numan's work here with modern electronic funk combines his early rigor and to-the-point rhythms with a deft, creative hand in the arrangements. The collaboration with Numan was beset by difficulties involving Numan's ego and approach to recording. While Nelson's production is evident on many tracks and his guitar is heard in several places, much of this is business as usual, and beside Poetry and Power features more Nelson and has gone on to a great deal of popularity, especially with the Gravity Kills cover on Random. The science fiction influences here are Robert A. Heinlein's The Moon is a Harsh Mistress and Harlan Ellison's Repent. Harlequin cried a TikTok man, while there is some evidence of confusion as to his direction. The music and songwriting has more energy than anything on the predecessor.